Well, hello you bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Dwarf Fortress. Now, today I figured we'd try something a little bit different than usual. Gonna be playing a mod today, a new mod custom made for this episode right here, or whatever ends up coming of this. I was planning on doing a one-off, but I guess we'll see how I feel. Might let it go for a couple episodes. Now, this mod here was created by Squamous, who is a prolific mod maker in the Dwarf Fortress community. Makes a bunch of really good ones. I'll put some links down below in the description here. Make sure to go check them out. Now, I've already generated up a world for this game today, so we're not going to go through all those details there. Just going to jump straight into it. And so with that, let's get to it. Allow me to welcome you to the Autumn Kingdom. Like many worlds, this one has its fair share of strife, legends, great feats and treasures and whatnot. But today we're not going to be focusing on any of that big stuff. We're going to narrow our focus quite a bit actually. Now, this particular section of the Autumn Kingdom is known as the Hollow Land. And in this place there's a group of people known as Pumpkinheads. Fairly ordinary folk, just like you and me. And like ordinary folk, these people like to stretch their legs a bit, get out there, and maybe claim a bit of this hollow land for themselves. Now that's exactly what they're doing over here on the Hill of Flickering. It's a fairly cold shrubland, well forested, and a small group of these Pumpkinheads have set out here to create a place called Milpagust, or Waddlesquash. They're making a farm, nothing fancy. These quaint little Pumpkinheads are hoping to create great fields of wheat and barley. Pumpkins, of course, but maybe some squash too. All that sort of stuff. And much, much more as well. I think that sounds like a perfectly doable idea. Really hoping to get to know these pumpkins a little bit better by the end of this thing too. I think that'd be fun. Now then, these pumpkins here exist under the banner of the Laughing Pumpkin. That's their icon. Gets the point across well enough. Big old pumpkin just laughing. A joyous symbol. Hey, who knows, maybe we'll make a tavern or something like that too. Weary travelers can take a rest here at Waddlesquash, enjoy the fruits of our labor. We can hear some stories, tell some stories perhaps. Maybe after some time has passed, this laughing pumpkin could be a well sought after sign for travelers in the area. Sounds like a good goal to me, for sure. Now, one of these pumpkins I'm gonna have to point out straight off the bat is Whiten Bosenbrulus, the expedition leader. This guy here is not particularly driven at all. And so really, I'm not too sure why he led these pumpkins here. Maybe he's driven to create a place where he doesn't have to be driven, if that makes any sense. He's getting away from the hustle and bustle of the towns, just trying to come out here and carve a little place of his own, where he doesn't have to worry about a single blessed thing. That does make sense. But somehow we've also managed to not bring a single pumpkin with us that has any ambitions or skills whatsoever. So that's going to make things difficult. Just figured I'd point out this fact. None of our pumpkins have any skills at all. Just peasants, pretty much. But that's fine. We'll learn as we go. We'll have enough work around here for a little bit where I'm sure our skill will increase in short order. And with that in mind, let's get straight down to it. Just going to zoom out for a second here and get a look at our surrounding area. You can see our wagon down here just by this brook. And there are a bunch of ponds in the area too, just all over the place, kind of dotting these fields. But right up here to the north of the wagon, there's a nice big wide open area. I think that's where we'll start building. Our first order of business is to cut down some trees and get rid of a bunch of plants here too. Not because they're in the way, but because we could use them. Right at the current time, it's early spring, and we're going to want to get moving. Don't want to have our pumpkins sleeping outside. Wouldn't be proper at all. Right now we have Whiten and Glur cutting down some trees. They're going to act as our carpenters for the time being. And the rest of the other pumpkins are collecting plants. We're going to start off by making a central living area. It's going to be made out of wood, of course, and it's not going to be anything fancy at all. You can see right there we just planned up the structure. We'll get to work on that ASAP. And you know, it looks like we have a bit of time here to play around with while the pumpkins get to work, so I figured I'd point out another important aspect of our people here. All of these Pumpkinheads worship the same god, Mengfor, the festive one, spectral god of music and festivals. And so yes, I was playing around with that tavern idea before, but I'm realizing now it's right in line with what we should be doing. We need a tavern, we need music, a nice festive atmosphere. Yeah, we'd be sorely amiss to not pursue that goal. We'll keep it in mind, that's for sure. May Mengfor's festive light shine upon us. Well, looks like the pumpkins are progressing pretty well. The structure is up and we have some beds in place now. Upstairs you can see the second story is coming along as well. Just starting work now on a slanted roof over on the side. I think that'd be nice. Little extra storage space couldn't hurt, right? It has taken a lot of doing though, and you can see the pumpkins are taking a break right now. Just enjoying some of the plants we've collected. Excellent, yes. Gonna have to start producing some barrels to store those things in. Don't want them to spoil out here in the sun. Won't be a problem though. Gotta cut down a few extra trees out here, get us a little bit more wood, and then we'll start getting to work on some more furniture for this structure here. Tables and chairs. It's gonna serve as a temporary meeting hall for the pumpkins. Oh, and you know what? While we do that actually, back to the whole plant pile here, maybe we should have a look to see what we've gathered. Didn't even think to check. Alright, looking like we have a good selection here. We found some spinach, garden cress, lettuce, radishes, some mushrooms, parsnips, got some oats here, and even some cotton. That's pretty cool. If we find enough, then we could start processing it into cloth. Well, I have a feeling we're going to actually be pretty self-sufficient when you get down to it, though it'd still be good to do some trading. That's for sure. There are some things we'll need. Like, notice this building up here, it has a lot of nice beds in it. No doors installed yet. That's kind of a problem. Very drafty, you know. But something I think it really needs is windows. But to make that happen, we'll have to do some trading. We don't have the appropriate materials right now to make a wood burning furnace. And we'll need that if we want to melt down sand to make windows. On top of that, you know, traders always bring some nice stuff. Some more animals would be nice. Some chickens or cows. We can make some really nice stuff using them. All in time though, all in time. No sense rushing things. I think we're moving at a pretty good pace as it is. And actually on the subject of animals, while the pumpkins are at work, maybe we should take a look at our own. We don't have many, but it's worth a gander, I'd say. Yeah, you can see them down here. They're just at the wagon still. We don't have a nice pasture for them yet. We'll get to it in time. No worries at all. You can see these big ones here. These are a bunch of great pumpkins. Large roaming pumpkins with simple holes for a face. They walk on 4 stubby vines. These creatures are favored by pumpkin heads as a beast of burden. They're also quite useful for pulling wagons and carrying riders with its slow and steady gait. We have 3 of them right now, 2 males and a female. Maybe we'll get some more in the future, eh? Might be handy to have around. Actually, no, at this current time, I am unsure of their exact usage, but I imagine we could butcher them and get something. We'll have to do some tests in a little bit, maybe on the extra male. Something I do know we can make use out of are these smaller ones here, as you can see. They're kind of milling about with the great pumpkins. These are just normal pumpkins. We have 2 females and a male, and these are roaming pumpkins with simple holes for a face, walking on 4 stubby vines. These are favored by pumpkin heads for their companionship, and they can also be tapped with a spigot and milked to produce pumpkin cider. Doesn't that sound lovely? So at least I know we can make use out of these smaller ones for that purpose right there. Pumpkin cider. I think that'd be pretty great. Of course, yes, we'll have to play around a bit, maybe after we have some more time. For now, we're pretty okay just eating what we find out in the fields here. It's a pretty bountiful area from the looks of it. Actually, you know what? Looks like the pumpkins are returning from their labors right now, just kind of gathering around the wagon. We'll let them have a little break for now, but we're gonna have to get back to work. Still plenty to do. We'll just get them back out there collecting some more plants. We do have a few extra barrels now, so we can store them away safely. Also making sure to get some of them put away inside this building here, which looks to be pretty much completed. Yeah, this is going to serve as our meeting hall. You can see the pumpkins are gathering up inside right now, but we're going to put them outside. We're going to start pasturing them outside the front of the building here. That'll be fine. Now let's see, next order of business. Well, first up, something I think we should do is officially make this place into a tavern. But it's not going to be a tavern for outsiders quite yet. It's just going to be for us pumpkins. Frankly, outsiders can be a bit dangerous, even in this peaceful, hollow land here. We'll make another tavern in the future, a little bit farther away from our settlement here. That'd be the smart thing to do. But yes, let's make an official tavern here for our people. Now, let's see, for a name, I'm gonna go with... gonna keep it simple, I suppose. We'll call it the Mengfor Inn, just to keep it a bit more personalized for our pumpkins. And also gonna make sure that only citizens can be here, as I said. And for now, we're not going to have a performer or anything like that. There's too much work to do. Maybe next year we'll get into that stuff a bit more. For now, this will be fine, though. Okay, and what do you think, guys? Doing good? You feeling good? We could take a little bit of a rest here. Right now, we're approaching mid-spring, so it's only really been about a month. They've got an awful lot done in that time. Very impressive. So yeah, I think it's okay to just take a little rest now. Nothing wrong with that. Gonna need some downtime in order to form relationships, bonds with each other. Gonna be very important. Something I have not yet mentioned is that, well, I mean, it's gonna be a small settlement, and we're not allowing anybody else in quite yet. If ever. We only have our 7 pumpkins, and that's gonna be it. No more migrants, though they might end up having children in the future. Who's to say? Actually, something I thought was really cool is that 2 of our pumpkins, Jarrett's and Hafe, have already formed a relationship. It was pretty darn quick, too. It's very good to see. I'm sure they'll grow closer in no time. Now then, I am noticing some of our pumpkins getting skills in their crafts. Very excellent, but these poor guys have been working outside in their uncovered workshops. That can't do. I think our next order of business is to create some sort of a work area. Kind of like this structure right here, except maybe a little bit bigger. We'll need kitchens, stills, craftsman workshops, carpenters, farmer workshops, all kinds of different stuff. Don't necessarily want to cram it all into one structure either. It might get a bit cluttered, you know? Okay, well, first thing I'd like to do is dig out a cellar. We need some more food storage. And like, originally I was thinking of making a shed outside somewhere for it, but I don't think that's going to work out so well. We're going to need to store a lot of food, and it would just be easier if it was beneath this building. Only thing is, there's a light aquifer in the area. I'm just hoping water doesn't start seeping through the walls down there. That'd be a mess, but we could sort it out. We don't intend to do too much mining here at Waddlesquash, but cellars like this will be pretty important. Yeah, there we go. Looks like we're free of the aquifer up here. Very good. We'll have a nice cellar dug out in no time. And with that, my pumpkins, it's back to work. There is still plenty to do. We've sent a bunch of them back outside to gather some more plants, making some more wooden furniture for future bedrooms, and we've got a couple pumpkins out here clearing away some more trees, just by this brook. I'm thinking that we should make some houses for the pumpkins, like that's going to be one of our main goals. We don't really want to be crammed up in here forever, and I'm thinking that some of the houses can include workshops in them. We already have some future professions in mind for some of the pumpkins. Jarrett's, the one I mentioned earlier in a relationship with Hafe, is going to be our cook, and Jackie is going to be our brewer. She's kind of a dour pumpkin. We're actually a little eager to get her out of the main building here. You know, give her her own place where she could be. I'm thinking those would be important structures to get both workshops for and bedrooms, just because we want to get some nice cooked meals and beverages. Top of the agenda right there. There we go, we'll just plan up a couple structures like this for now. 2 houses, big houses too. Since this one structure right here is sort of our meeting hall right now, I figured it'd be important to put the still and kitchen kind of nearby. Going to be a lot of people looking for food and drinks. This is really going to improve our quality of life. We're just going to let those pumpkins work for now. And in the meantime, something I noticed that's a little bothersome is that, like, I noticed this region, the soil doesn't seem very fertile. We wanted to create a farm here, remember? So this is actually a pretty poor location, I think. All over the ground here, you can see these patches of pebbles. And these aren't just any old pebbles either, it's rock salt. And it's all over the place. If we want to grow some stuff, then we're going to have to deal with just little patchy plots for now. Tiny gardens. We don't really need anything big, in all honesty, but like, we want big, full fields. So what we're going to have to do is kind of irrigate the ground a little bit. Try to wash away these pebbles. I think with enough care we can get something nice and workable. It'll take a bit of doing, but it'll get done. Back over here at the settlement, things are looking pretty okay. You can see those buildings are progressing well enough. The ground floor of each is now completed. Just working on the upper floor now. Still in the process of making some more furniture. Also trying to get a new trade depot put in place. The traders should arrive here in autumn. Right around the corner, really. We are now in summer. And additionally, we are in the process of making some hives as well. For bees. We've noticed some honeybees in the area, so we figured, what the hell? Might as well take advantage, right? This area does have a lot to offer, even if the soil isn't all too fertile. You know, it's going to take a little bit still to get these buildings put up. So, in the meantime, I really want to figure out this whole pumpkin milking system here. So you can see now, Voli Eridine, our farmer, currently bringing a great pumpkin over to the farmer's workshop, where I believe he was able to get some pumpkin cider out of the creature. Let's have a look to see how that went. Okay, yeah, having a look at the farmer's workshop, there's a bucket in here. And if we have a look at the bucket, you can see it's filled with some pumpkin cider. Okay, hell yeah. That was from a great pumpkin too, so it looks like both varieties of pumpkins are, I don't like to keep saying milkable, ciderable. How about ciderable pumpkins? Wonderful. We can pass this stuff off to Jarrett, and she should be able to cook with it. Speaking of which, how about we check in on her? She's currently in the process of making a lavish meal. I'll put that in quotes because, remember, as I said at the beginning of this thing, we don't really know what we're doing yet. So she's not very skilled as a cook, but she's getting the practice in anyways. She's gathering up the last few bits here of what she'll need, and so let's see what she's come out with. Oh boy, a garden cress leaf roast. 6 of them. The ingredients are minced prepared donkey lung, minced spinach leaf, and minced garden cress leaf. Okay, it's not bad. a little plain. Sure, you got the donkey lung, but then the rest is just a bunch of leaves. Really, it's not that bad when you get down to it. It'll fill a belly. That's what's important. We'll have to keep an eye on her and see what else she makes in the future. Really curious to see what she'll cook that cider into. And just imagine when we get honey. We'll be making some really interesting things then. Soon enough, soon enough. Keep at it, Jarrett. And while she's at work, we can have a look upstairs in her house to see her bedroom. Just about finished at this point. Got the roof on up top, got some nice furniture in place. Just putting a few extra touches in here right now. It's fairly sizable. Down to the south there, you can see some windows. They're not, well, the fortifications is what they are. Still pretty darn drafty. Really can't wait to get some windows in this place. We'll have to trade something nice to the merchants when they come. Hopefully we get something. But yeah, that's all set. Now actually up to the north here, you can see another bedroom that we made. This one here's for Whiten, our leader. It's a bit smaller, just in the upper floor of the meeting hall. Figured we had some room in there and we should get him a proper place for a room. And an office, too. That's important. Needs to be able to perform his duties. So yeah, they're all set. Same goes for Jackie the brewer in her house. All set. 3 out of 7 pumpkins now have bedrooms. Though we're gonna have to end up making something a bit bigger for Whiten in the future. That one's just temporary. Having a look outside now, you can see our trade depot's completed. Just in time too, we're in late summer. Still not 100% sure what we're going to trade, but it's probably going to be prepared meals. We do have a ton of those. Way more than we'll need, that's for sure. Bound to sell for a good price, too. And moving on, if you take a look up here to this big open area, you can see it's kind of a mess right now, a big muddy mess. But we're able to work the soil a bit and get rid of a bunch of that salt. We're still in the process of taking care of it though. What we had to do was build some wooden stairways and dump water down on the soil a whole bunch. That cleared away the salt pebbles and made mud. But you can see right now, we did have a bunch of saplings here too, and we can't till a field over that, so we're gonna have to lay boards down over them to just kill off the trees. It's a weird process, but it works. We're gonna have a nice workable field here in no time. And while we finish figuring out what we're doing with those fields, how about we start up another construction right up here, right to the north of those fields. We'll start work on a barn, I think. It'll serve as a place to house our pumpkins as well as a home for Voli Eridine, our head farmer. There we go, I think we'll start with something like this here. Just the ground floor. It's a little bit bigger than I thought it would be. Had to make enough stalls for 8 pumpkins at least. I figure we'll put the great pumpkins in here. Maybe eventually we'll make a coop for the smaller ones. That'll probably be a good idea, huh? Gonna have to keep them safe. Don't want those little guys getting picked off by predators. You can see over to the left there, that's where the workshops are gonna be. Farmers' workshops, looms, that sort of stuff. And then down to the south there's a small chamber. That's gonna be a dining room, I believe. Probably put Voli's bedroom up top. That should work out well if I'm thinking of things correctly. We'll play it by ear. And alongside that barn, I'm thinking we should make another structure over here on the other side of the brook. What we're gonna need here is a chapel to Meng for, and that'll also serve as a house for Pastor Chert. We're just gonna put it right up over here, not too far away from the main settlement. Now let's see here. And there we go. Nothing too fancy really. We'll have an entryway, a main chapel area, and then in the back we'll have an office for Pastor Chert. I'm thinking though that we'll put a house for her somewhere else. Maybe like over next door or something. No sense of cramming it all in this one structure. We should let it breathe a bit, you know? And, well, what do you say, pumpkins? I think we're doing pretty darn well for ourselves. We've only just passed the half-year mark, and look how much we've done. Got a nice field, a few structures, food supplies are strong, and we're looking forward to those traders arriving. Yeah, there's a lot of good here, and I think we really have only just scratched the surface. Pretty darn excited to see what comes of this place. Just remember, pumpkins, for as common as things seem here, it still is a very dangerous world. We'll have to keep our wits about us if we want to continue living peacefully. But no sense in worrying yet, my friends. Well, my bearded bastard, that's pretty much going to wrap it up, I think. And now we're going to start talking about some behind-the-scenes things. I like to do this after episodes, just to let you know kind of where I am with things. Odd observations I noted, strange little gameplay quirks I encountered, that sort of stuff, you know. Plus, I also use this segment here to show off fan artwork for the current series if I get any. With that in mind, if you want to do any, or if you have any that you want to send in, you can send it to kruggsmash@gmail.com, and I'll make sure it gets into next episode. Anywho, but yes, this was a mod that, you know, I'm not sure if it has an official title, really. I had commissioned this mod from Squamous, as I said at the beginning of the episode, and I really like it. I was planning on just doing a one-off thing. It's not like a giant mod, really. Not like Squamous' other mods, like the Long Night and that sort of stuff. But it's got enough in it for me. I personally really like simple mods. Just a few new races, a couple new items, Take that and you slap a new tile set and some different colors on there. Changes the entire Dwarf Fortress experience, as we saw here. Now, I started this fortress here, Waddlesquash, as a one-off sort of a deal. I didn't really want to go beyond one episode, just a little, fall time fun here. I thought maybe we could do 2 episodes. But guys, I just love pumpkins. I love them a lot. I'm invested at this point. So I think we're going to continue this for a bit. Just looking in on these little pumpkin lives here. I'm not sure if this will get boring. Like, 10 episodes in, watching 7 pumpkins just kind of mess around in a field might get a little taxing. But, we'll play it by ear. Nice little change of pace. Gonna tell you right now, too, I know it's not gonna be up everyone's alley. And that's fine. I'll be doing something different before long, I'm sure. So, settle down. Yeah, I've been really enjoying these smaller experiences lately, just playing by myself. You can set the population cap of a fortress, and yeah, it just makes everything feel a bit more personal, I guess. You get a big fortress, even like, say, 20, 30 dwarves, it kind of loses that, This way here, we could be truly devastated if anything happens to any of these pumpkins, which, I gotta say, I'm not sure if that'll be the case or not. I know there is dangerous stuff out in this world, and I have had very small forts like this go down in a blaze just immediately. Like, one stupid little thing can happen and it'll just ruin everything. Hoping that doesn't happen. Usually when that does happen, I've noticed it's related to taverns and letting outsiders in. Someone will be visiting, I'll take a drink. Sure, next full moon, werebeast, everyone's dead. So yeah, I like the idea of a tavern, but again, we'll try to keep it far away from our settlement. How's that sound? Back on the subject of this mod here, as I said at the beginning, I'll have some more information about that down in the description below, including hopefully a place to download it. While I'm recording this, that's not set up, but I'll try to suss something out before this video goes up. How's that sound? And yeah, the art for this fortress here was inspired by a combination of Over the Garden Wall, which I'm sure if you've seen that, you can see it in the art. I only just watched that at the beginning of this month, and was truly inspired by it. Big fan, go watch it if you can. But yeah, it was inspired by that, and like vintage Beistel Halloween decorations, just like some really corny Halloween decorations. You should go have a look. It's pretty cool, really. Oh, and like vintage Halloween postcards, have a look at those too. They're a hoot. Looking forward to doing some more drawings like that too. Next episode, where I hope I'll be seeing you again. Ooh, also, I'm going to mention, Squammus, who made this mod, guy can really use your support, so I'm going to have a link to his Patreon down below. A mod maker does not have the same voice that a content creator like myself has, so I'm really going to encourage you to maybe head over to his Patreon and sling him $1 a month. Anything you can, really, I'm sure he'd appreciate it, because it's guys like Squammus that help me make videos like this, and also help Dwarf Fortress to be a better game by making more content available for you to play around with. It's pretty great. Go check it out, please. Also, I'm gonna note too, I'm like all over the place with this behind the scenes stuff here, but like I'm really trying to make a conscious effort to talk a little bit slower and clearer in this episode. And it seems like whenever I change how I speak in an episode for whatever reason, people read all kinds of ways into it. Hey, Krug, you sound depressed or bored or something like that. I'm not depressed. I'm not bored. Okay? I'm just like, normally I talk pretty frantically. Trying to cut that out a bit. It's a calm, nice little autumn episode. So we're just relaxed. That's it. Thank you for your concern, though. Really appreciate it. Anyways, my bearded bastards. Hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I certainly hope to see you next time here in Waddlesquash. And until then,